If you like coming here as much as I do, Cartmel Racecourse, and you love the summer jumps, then there's a man we need to know a little bit more about. James Moffatt is who we're off to see today. He's gone in to be the leading trainer of all time here at Cartmel, and he's got a good team coming here to start with at the May Festival, but running throughout the whole summer campaign. So let's go and see more. His base is just over the road from the racecourse, so you should know plenty about these surroundings. Don't forget to like and subscribe to Tote's YouTube channel to get plenty more stable tours. We've got some more for the summer jumps, but plenty more for the flat season across all them key whirlpool dates. Tell us how you got started. Obviously you were a jockey first before you've become a trainer.
So I went over to I started in racing in 1988 when I left school, and I went straight to Tommy Stack's in Ireland. So to become a flat jockey, and Tipperary. Tommy had about 120 horses with Robert Sangster, and was one of his main patrons. Great grounding for me. I spent 18 months there. Did have a ride on the flat for Robert Sangster at the Phoenix Park. I rode a winner on my first ride from my dad. I flew back from Ireland to ride one at Ayr on the April 1989, I think it was. And I had obviously the weight went up, and the weight went up, and I came back here, and I race rode for 14 years, and had about just over 1,000, literally just over 1,000 rides, and 78 winners it was, and
some decent winners in the mix as well.
Yeah,
County hurdle and a Scottish champion hurdle.
Yeah, the county hurdle, yeah, it was really good, and then the Scottish champion hurdle on the same horse. And I think a couple of years before I rode the other one, good race, decent races. I won the Yorkshire hurdle, the Great Yorkshire hurdle. Was it Great Yorkshire hurdle?
Yeah, Doncaster.
At Wetherby.
Right, okay,
is it Yorkshire hurdle? Yeah, Deb's
Yeah,
Ball.
I
Yeah,
think it's right,
Yorkshire hurdle. And I won the Premier hurdle. I was a good race on Morselli as well for Howard Johnson. That was a good one. Had a few rides at the festival, but had a few winners here. Had maybe 10 or 15 winners. I think 15 winners here around Cartmel.
Yeah.
Started training then in 2002, and that was a struggle. First 6 or 7 years was a real struggle. Yeah.
Always based here.
Yeah, well, I was always based here. I moonlighted up to Workington for a very short spell. Thought I'd move yards, and all that glisters isn't gold. I only spent 2 months up there and came back. Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't right. But yeah, it wasn't right for me really. So we came back here and expanded this yard, and yeah, trained here ever since. Yeah, my father trained here for 20 years before that as well.
Yeah,
he came here in 1985. So, and he, I mean, he had his. He's still about now. His dad, he's 90 now, but he first got into racing in 1952, and he's been in racing ever since. Yeah. So, yeah,
stuff.
Yeah. Darren, now my brother, actually, he rides out for me a couple of horses. He's ridden over 500 winners on the flat. So, he came back from Germany just after the pandemic, and he manages a restaurant in Grange, but keeps his eye in by riding a couple out every day for me. And he's, obviously ridden winners all around the world. He's ridden winners all over Europe, and he's India and all over places like that. So he's really useful to have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And obviously you've got the racecourse literally on your doorstep here.
Yep.
How would you get the horses to there when the races walk them down? Or?
So my dad, in his wisdom, one year tried to. He said he would. Are you gonna? Do I need a shave here? I'd forgotten about this.
No, you can have one if you want one, but you look fine to me.
Can you Photoshop that out?
Yeah.
Sorry, what were you saying? So
I was saying about how do you get the horses down to the racecourse?
My dad one year, I think just as a show, when I was about 18, he said, or 19, he said, well, walk them down, you can, rather than boxing them up. And so we walked them down about 10 o'clock in the morning, and we walked through a crowd, and I said to him at that point, I said, we're never, ever doing that again, because you take 6 horses down there, leading them down through the village, and by then people are already in the swing of things, aren't they? The village is packed, and it was a health and safety nightmare, so no, we would have horses patting on the bum. So no, I take them down. I'd be one of the first horses there, actually. I would say we take them down at about 8 o'clock in the morning, and I leave them down there and leave them down there all day. And fine. Then that's done. But it's so busy, the crowds and all that sort of thing. You get there early and then they're settled. Whereas if you're leaving it like the normal 3 hours before a race, well, by then the village is packed and slow and usually hot days. So we get them down there first thing in the morning, and then sometimes we'd actually bring them back the following day, the following morning, just because it's just so much easier because of to-ing and fro-ing and trying to go against the traffic.
You've got 70 winners overall there at the track. Donald McCain has 76, but he can obviously still have more. He's still in training, as are you. So
I'm still in the fight, Anna.
Yeah, any kind of target you're trying to get there?
Well, it's obvious, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, look, Donald's a good friend of mine. He's a powerful yard. He doesn't run quite as many at Cartmel as he once did, and I probably run more than I've ever done. So I went to school here, and Dad was born not far from here in a little village called Brigsteel, about 6 miles up the road, and you know, when you're in a place for nearly 40 years, you become ingrained into the area. You know all the local farms, and there isn't anywhere that I haven't been, or people that I don't know that have been here for a certain amount of time. So having winners at Cartmel is it's great. It's like a home game for me, and we get lots of local support. I mean, there's a couple of girls in the yard down there now. Charlotte's just gone, but she's a Barrow girl. Leah was brought up in Crossway. Ella's brought up in Bentham, just down the road. Darren was obviously brought up round here. Kirsten in the yard, she's a local girl. Emily's a local girl. So we get a lot of local support. So it does mean a lot to us to try and do well at the local track.
And the racing's got better every year. I've been coming here for 20 years at least as a kid on bank holiday weekends and stuff, and there was a point when people used to think it was a bit of a point-to-point track, but now you're getting especially that August bank holiday, the Saturday has got some superb racing. Yeah,
well, there's good days. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, there's good prize money on each of the days, and like the August bank holiday is sort of the culmination of the season, but some decent races right the way through. I mean, I was talking to one of the girls earlier. I mean, I think I rode my first winner at Cartmel in 1990, and they were 3 and 4 runner races, and the ground was officially described as hard. So hard, and it just doesn't happen now, and rightly so, because the racing surface is a top priority to anyone who's any of the participants. I think having the right racing surface is vital to make sure nothing goes wrong, and the safety of the riders, and that obviously the horses is paramount. So, and it's improved every year. I mean, Lord Cavendish is a huge part of this. I mean, he single-handedly saved the racecourse virtually in the late 80s, early 90s when it was on its knees, and he's added to it. But I think he's very mindful not to spoil the racecourse and its charm and all the things that make Cartmel, the second most popular, second average highest attendance of any racecourse in the country. The reasons behind all that are because it caters to all the families with children, and bring your own beer and bring your own bottle of wine, and you can drink out of the back of your car, and there's just nowhere quite like it. So, and I think it is a reflection of sort of maybe what racing was like in times gone by. But you're right about the competition. It has gone up. I mean, the first time I was leading train around there, Gordon Elliott was second to me, second year. So in the last 10 years or so, things have improved. I started particularly, I think Jonathan Garrett, he's at Kelso now, but he did a great job, in the early sort of 20 sort of teens, if you like, bringing decent prize money to the racecourse, and that's held true, and hopefully it'll continue for a long time.
Perfect. Do you want me to go through a few horses now, or do you want to go around the yard and do them?
I can, yeah, and go through whatever you want. Look at the ones in front now. We got
go on.
So Secret we got is the horse in front. I mean, we sort of pinched him from the sales really for 1,500 quid. It was more just to get a runner, and he's managed to win 3 for us. So he's a super little horse, especially around here. He's won 2 around here, and
nice one really behind good. Skyjack. Well, he beat Skyjack Hijack, didn't he?
Yeah, he's not as good as that, but I mean, I think Skyjack Hijack's having an off day, but so like I'm pleased with him, and he's been a grand little servant to us. The horse there that Natasha Cookson's riding, she's an amateur rider. She's had a ride from me the other day. That's Mojo Ego. He's seems to be in a good place now with his handicap mark. He's dropped quite a bit through the winter, and as usual, sort of horses that perform well as juvenile hurdlers end up with a rating that's hugely inflated when they come against the older horses, and he has struggled, but we think we're in a good place now with him. So yeah, happy with that.
Yeah, I had it down. He was 5th in the Cartmel Cup as well, but not beating her.
He was, massively. Yeah. Well, maybe just stand on this side.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, he was 5th in the Cartmel Cup, and summer racing. He's not a winter horse, but we've had to sort of keep plugging away just to. Yeah, he's a nicely handicapped horse now. Let's just say that. The horse that's actually there behind Mr. Rumbalicious that Ella's riding.
Yeah.
You go with Mr. Rumbalicious and the other two together. I think that'll be all right, Leah. I think Darren wants to go to you. You go to Darren and let you're going to lead, Leah, and let the other horse go to you, yeah? Sorry? Yeah. Do it that way. Yeah, you go to Ella, Darren. I would have thought. He's a Mr. Rumbalicious, another horse that's been wildly disappointing last season. We threw him out in the field sort of about October, September time, and gosh, he didn't come out of the field till January this year. Yeah. We were actually going to we were going to just sort of send him on, but we had a man who was an interest in the horse called John Neal, and he bought into him. And I'm saying this about this horse. Normally a horse with that sort of form, I wouldn't be really. I just think he's turned a corner, the horse, and he's hugely well handicapped.
Yeah,
the biggest problem might be we're just getting him in.
Yeah.
But
rated 76.
Yeah. 76 is it? Yeah, I thought it was 74. 76.
Yeah,
great.
76 according to Racing Force.
Yeah. No, look, I just think he might have something to offer.
Yeah.
Certainly over two.
Because he won a conditional race at Cartmel.
He did, yeah, of quite a high mark. He just wasn't right last year at all, and but hopefully he'll turn a corner. There was them 4. What else are we wanting to look at?
I've got a few more for Cartmel, but I'll ask you about Union Avenue, the bumper horse. He's at Cheltenham.
He's a lovely horse. He's probably the best horse I've had since Chief Dan George, quite honestly. I mean, obviously Highland Lodge won the Beecher Chase, but and it was a very good horse, but different type. He was very one-trick pony, Highland Lodge. I like Union Avenue a lot. As I said, I think he's probably one of the best we've had since Chief Dan George.
Yeah. Will he go hurdling now?
He'll go hurdling. He's going to come into training on the 1st of July. He has had time off. He injured himself out in the field, and he fractured he had a crack fracture of his pelvis, and we took him down to Lea Hurst, and they were more than happy. In February, we gave him box rest as you usually do, and then walking out in hand, and effectively he's got a green light now. He's in the field at the moment, but he'll come back into training on the 1st of July, and he'll go novice hurdling.
Okay, yeah. But you think I've seen you say you think he's a chaser in.
Oh yeah, he's definitely a chaser. He's a big boy. He's. But I think we've still got time. He's still young enough to go hurdling, and I think just going chasing after bumpers anyway would probably be folly. So he'd be soft ground, 2.5, and then probably stepping up to 3 miles in hurdles. But he could be graded company. I'd be surprised if he wasn't graded company, actually.
Yeah.
And we'll see how he gets on.
Excellent. Yeah. And Danny McMenamin's rode him quite a bit.
Danny McMenamin rode him at the Cheltenham Festival. Yeah. Charlotte rode him
prior to
the 3 previous runs.
Okay, yeah. Any particular reason for that? Or?
Charlotte had broken a collarbone. Yeah, okay, broken a collarbone last year before the Cheltenham Festival. Yeah, she broke the collarbone on a horse up at Ayr, and that was that really. Yeah.
A couple of others that I picked. Bingo that was won at Aintree on Boxing Day.
Yeah, he had
last season before. But.
Yeah, he had an itty bitty season this season. We've had such a dry winter. I think it's been the driest spring now on record, hasn't it? And like even the back end of last year, we didn't really get soft ground until December. He had a run at Carlisle, and Seated the rider, and yeah, we just had a season to forget with him, but he's back at home with the owners now, the Glastonburys, and hopefully he'll be coming back around sort of July time. And yeah, I mean, he's a good performer, but he's very much ground dependent. The heavier the ground, the better, and it just didn't happen last year. It just didn't happen. He did run at Aintree in the race he won before, but unfortunately he bled that day, and my horses have been under quite a cloud through the winter, so he was an offshoot of that as well. So yeah, he's quite a big boy, but he's good on his feet, and he was bought to go around Cartmel, and he entered a week on Monday. Yeah. So, but you know, I mean, he goes on decent ground. Yeah, I'd be very hopeful of him. He's a nice old chasing sort. We've schooled him, and he's probably jumps a fence better than a hurdle. I was thinking that the hurdling might be a job for him, but
same rating over both. So
yeah, I'd probably look at a chase. You know, especially around Cartmel, it might be a bit sharp for him around Cartmel. But I think, yeah, I mean, I don't know what means too good around Cartmel. I don't know. I mean,
yeah, he's run over all different distances.
Yeah, he's run over all distances, and something. I think probably 2-6 round. 2-6 round here over fences, probably top weight, and go from there like that.
And two more who may not be Cartmel ones, but sort of the top ones in your pack. Great Pepper.
Yeah, Great
Pepper. And
Luna
Discovery.
Luna Discovery again's out in the field. She went chasing last year, and she was placed a couple of times, but the feeling is that she's probably better a hurdler. I think that was none more so than Weatherby, where she just wasn't enjoying it. Charlotte did the right thing, pulling her up. But she was second twice to that, but probably her best form was at Cheltenham, although, you know, she wasn't in the money or anything. She was only beaten 9 lengths at Cheltenham behind that unbeaten horse of Gordon Elliott's. Well, it was unbeaten until it
tends to go in like mares races.
Yeah, that one that won at the She, that same horse, the one that won the mares race at Cheltenham.
Yeah, Brighter Days Ahead.
No, we finished third in the Aintree hurdle. That's it, Woodoo, that's right, yeah. She was only 8-9 lengths behind that at Cheltenham, and we were just sort of thinking, you know, that day that again she wants soft ground, and it just didn't quite work for us. Yeah, we just didn't get the ground as we wanted it for her. You know, it's been a very dry winter. I think all the trainers are saying the same thing. You know, there hasn't been a lot of time to run these proper soft, heavy ground horses. We only maybe had a window of 8 weeks, and then if you're looking at races, it's hard again to place them higher rated horses, and consequently we didn't get a proper bite of the cherry last year with them too. But we've had 2 or 3 previous good seasons with them, so there's no reason why it won't come back.
Yeah. I'll go through some of the ones I thought might be Cartmel runners, and you can tell me whether they will be or not. Book of Secrets, £2 below his last winning mark, and placed at Cartmel last year at 20-1.
Book of Secrets is a horse that I have myself with a dear friend of mine, Keith Hadwin, and he was actually meant to run before now, but he got a bit of an infection in his back leg. He's coming right now. He'll definitely be going to the June meeting. I don't really think there's much for him in the May meeting. And he'll probably have a run round Hexham or somewhere like that beforehand just to put him right. So he'll be campaigning there certainly June, July, and August.
Cusco de Mathan.
Looking forward to him. He's in good order. Yeah, grand little horse. He's fit and ready to go, and he'll run in the May meeting.
Yeah, I put that he may need some cut in the ground, some of his better form.
I think you might be right. I think you might be right. I mean, I do think you might be right. I think fences helped him a lot last year, and he'll run. I mean, look, he's okay. He's safe to run on good ground, but you know, we've had such a dry spell now. I think we've only had 50 mils of rain since the back end of January here. Normally those figures are around nearly 400 mils of rain, so you can tell how dry it is with all the lakes and everything are going. So I'm probably the only one who's half hoping for a very wet summer.
Yeah, exactly.
I hope it rains just on the racecourse, nowhere else.
Yeah. He won that last race by 9 lengths, didn't he? And he went up £5.
He went up enough, didn't he?
Yeah, he went up enough, but I thought with the distance between, he might still have something.
Yeah, he's going to be competitive, put it that way. He'll be competitive, and you know, I mean, I think the one thing he's been much more straightforward to train this spring and summer, and yeah, I mean, I don't know, he was almost sort of weak or he hadn't acclimatised or what. The first season was awful and he did win one race, but last season he got it more together. But this time he's been much happier horse, and so he might have just improve again. Yeah.
Hurricane Ali, since
Hurricane
he's come
Ali.
to you, he's enjoyed going to Cartmel.
Well,
He's not won, but he's been placed three times.
Lovely owners, lovely owners, and lovely family who own him, and I suppose he'd come from John's, and John said to me, look, he wants fast ground and 2 miles. And of course, the owners have a holiday home up at Aleph, just up the road, in a little village just down the road, and they wanted to go to Cartmel. I said, well, look, he's getting a little bit older. He had been placed once with John over 2 miles 3. I've probably turned him into a 3 miler rather than a 2 miler. I wouldn't run him over 2 miles now. He's 9-year-old, and I was actually pleased with it. So again, it was horses the horses were under terrible cloud through the winter, and we actually shut up shop for 6 weeks, 8 weeks, and then thinking we'd get a run into everything in April. But unfortunately, the ground's been very quick, and a lot of the owners were sort of saying, well, why don't we just go straight to Cartmel and not risk anything? So he was one of the ones that did get a run at Hurricane Ali, and I was perfectly pleased with him at Carlisle on a stiff track over 3 miles. He was very, very keen early on with Leah Naretzi, and then just didn't quite get home. That was over 3 miles on a stiff track, and he just slightly needed it. So he's come forward a long way, and I'm sure he'll do well through Cartmel this summer. Yeah.
Lovely. A veteran that's always well liked here, Jelski. Is he still on the go? 11-year-old.
So we were considering. We certainly. I mean, I was keen on retiring him after his last run over hurdles, the back end around Christmas time, I think it's New Year, and I was thinking that way, and we put him out in New Zealand on and put him out for a month or so, with almost looking to find him a new home really, and but the owner then came to me and said, look, they had a bit of a talk, and given his rating now, I think it's about 90, is it?
Yeah, 90 on hurdles.
So this time last year, we ran him over at Cartmel over 3 miles and 5,
yeah,
off a rating of 112, and it was too far, and I think we bottomed him.
Yeah.
And I think we bottomed him for the summer, and he just never. These old horses, you've got to stay on the right side of them mentally. You've got to stay on the right side of all of them mentally, and I think I made a huge mistake in running him over 3.5. He gave his all. He wasn't beaten very far.
No, yeah.
But he never picked
Henderson horse as well.
Yeah. He never picked up the ball again, though. Never picked up the ball again. But then when the owner was speaking to me, and we were saying, well, look, this time last year he was rating off 112. This year he's off 90. He's 22 pounds well in.
Yeah.
And we gave him a good break through the wind. We gave him a couple of months break and just done different things with him and just played around with him. He was a trainer's hack for a month, which he thoroughly enjoyed. And just in the last 3 weeks ago, he's really started to come to. And I've been very dubious about it, because I want to always do the best thing for my horses. But I'm now convinced, and I'm very happy with him, and I'm really looking forward to running him week on Saturday over 3 miles he runs well. He'll run well, fine, fresh, and I'm happy with him.
But he won't go in that veterans.
He won't go in that veterans race. He won't go in
no.
he won't go in that 3.5. I'd run him in the 0 to 100 again. We're 22 pounds lower than what we were this time last year, and his work's been so much better this time. That's the best he's been working for 2 years. So, it's up to him. Jelski is, he knows plenty.
Yeah.
I always say, like an old horse, like he knows stuff.
Yeah.
And he does. So, but we're on the right side with him, and I'll be looking forward to him. Yeah, looking forward to him. Looking forward to judicial review as well.
Yeah, I was just going to go on to him. I thought he was one of the most interesting ones.
No, he's interesting, all right. Yeah, I mean,
first time blinkers, he won last time.
Yeah.
The second's won twice.
Yeah.
Since, now rated 90, and the third's rated 100, and he's rated 81.
Yeah. Is it 81?
That's what I've got, yeah.
Christ.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just getting in, isn't it? I mean, look, he wasn't a hurdler, so we got his handicap mark hurdling.
Yeah.
He wasn't ready to go chasing, and then he just straight away, he ran really well in his first race over fences. We were pleased with him that day, and then he went and won. The slight worry is the ground. He's won twice on soft ground, but his point was on good ground, and we always thought he'd had a good ground action, to be quite honest with you. But he went for a racecourse gallop at Carlisle about a month ago, and did very well with Cossack Catch.
Yeah. And
I'd be very hopeful that he'll. The only problem is, I think we might have to run him and Jelski in the same race, but
Have the 1-2.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. We have a few others. A Bitter Lemon filly we bought out of William Haggis is off the flat. She goes to the mare's hurdle. Mare's Mare's Novice Hurdle or Mare's Maiden Hurdle. Callow Athena's another horse that will probably go to Cartmel the week on Saturday.
Yeah.
She's had a couple of runs. She shouldn't see it last time, but she's way better than what she's shown up to now. Way better.
See the Clouds. It won the Cumbrian
I'm
Bristol
looking
Cup last
really.
time. He's coming here from Snowdons.
Well, I thought, well, if he can't beat them, join buy him. So that's what we did, and he just a proper professional. Just everything Jamie Snowden said about him is right. He just every morning he gets up like it's spring and bounces out of his box, does his work, and thorough professional. Really looking forward to having a lot of fun with him through the summer.
Yeah,
really
I think there was a £10 claimer on that day. So
there was, yeah.
Leo, I suppose, could do that.
Yeah, that might come to that. Yeah, it might. We might put Leo on, and equally, I mean, again, like, we might have Mojo Ego in it. I don't know, but I mean, he's. I mean, a straightforward ride. He might be a touch high in the weights. I don't know, but obviously Leo would negate that. So it's one of those. Yeah.
The last two we've touched on a few more. Shantou, Sunset, and Vocal Duke. Vocal
Duke's been disappointing, but he is down to a low mark. He'll probably go for the seller on the. I think it's on the selling hurdle. I'm not sure whether that's the Monday.
Yeah.
Shantou Sunset's been saved for Cartmel. She'd run at the back end of the last year, but she knows plenty about racing, and she enjoys Cartmel. She's ran really well there for us, so she'll be going to stud at the after this summer. But she should hold her own. Yeah, she should hold her own. I mean, some of these are sort of the older stages. I mean, like I say, she's plenty of ability. Yeah.
Have you got a target in mind for Cartmel this year? Obviously, people follow you at Cartmel, and last season wasn't as consistent as the other ones. Was there a reason for that, or is it just one of them things?
No, I think we had, so sort of the year last January, we had a bug in the yard, and horses weren't very well, and winners dried up a little bit, and we were slow to get going last May, and we bought some new horses in the yard again, and unfortunately we've just been run ragged with the virus throughout the winter mainly. Horses weren't right, and bloods were wrong, discharged from the nose. We fumbled our way through the first part of the season and literally had to close up shop.
Yeah.
What I will say is now, though, is that the horses are looking a lot better, they're working a lot better, but the proof is in the pudding when you start running them, isn't it? So there is a bit of.
But essentially, you've got a bit between your teeth.
Yeah, well, of course, yeah.
You're proud man to be from Cartmel and want to do well here, don't you?
Well, look, every trainer's competitive, I think. I mean, we are. I mean, I hate losing. I hate losing, and every trainer goes through it, or every jockey goes through these doldrums, and you've got to deal with it. I've been going out long enough now that you don't change your systems. You keep going and try and get back to the form you were in before. I mean, as I said, nothing's changed. Oh, all right. At least he's done a good bit. Ella? How did he go compared to him, Darren? Yeah. Sorry, what was it?
I was just saying about your Cartmel, but you answered it anyway. I think. You're
fine. Look, it's a horrible, dark place because for any trainer that goes sort of through, we and I
probably doesn't help that it's only a summer one either, because you've got to wait till next summer to have another bite of the cherry. Then.
Yeah, I mean, look, we're not. I know we're focusing quite a lot of horses at Cartmel this year, but it's really through default because we weren't able to run a lot of them in the winter, and we thought we'd see what happened. We've still got plenty of the summer to turn a few out, and hopefully we'll get a few of them out in May and then chuck a few of them out and go from there. But, you want to be racing all the time, and I never really believed in viruses all that much, but I do now.
Yeah.
I mean, we had a very poor season seven years ago.
Yeah.
We had a very poor season 14 seasons ago, and we had a very poor season 7 years before that, which is absolutely ridiculous. But it's just, it hurts your pride. It because the way a trainer any trainer sort of, you're judged on how fast a horse runs around a field, and if you care about it and you're passionate about it, then it's going to hurt.
Yeah.
You know, and but you've got to use that, haven't you? And
Exactly.
you know, you try and keep the knockers quiet.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's been a tough little time. It's been a tough time, but there's worse things going on in the world. But,
I suppose, yeah.
You know,
It'll seem better after a few winners on the Saturday at Cartmel.
yeah, we'll see. Yeah, I'll say it's as you said, it's competitive, and as long as they're running the races, you know, the winners will come, won't they? But you know, if they're running well, and the winners will come. But we, like I say, I mean, it's been a, you know, I'm 52-year-old now, but you've learned. You're still learning. You're always learning, and just when you think you've got it sorted, and just when you think, all right, I've arrived now, you get a kick in the nuts in this job. You really do, you know. So, and it's been, as I said, we had a problematic year last year with several reasons of the bugs and things like that. But we had injured staff. We had myself. I injured myself. I was out for a month and a half. Charlotte broke a collarbone. We had another girl that, just everything went wrong last year that could have gone wrong, and we probably should have pulled up stumps earlier, back at last autumn, spring, and just reset. But we had to have the reset this year. We had the reset from March through to sort of February, March, and just reset the whole yard, dropped everything back down to very, very light work, and get it all healthy again, and try and clear out. This sort of weather helps as well, you know. So hopefully we'll be able to make an impact.
And Charlotte's all ready to go.
Cartmel
as well.
Yeah,
I was interested when I actually looked through the jockeys you use. I knew that she has always been your jockey, but how many times she actually has ridden for you, and nobody's ridden more winners for you than Charlotte, which is
I mean, like,
a great partnership.
Well, Brian Hughes was. I love Brian, and Brian used to come here as a £7 claimer, and I love Brian, still do, love him, and he was coming here as a £7 claimer, and we used him a lot, but it's a bit like that sort of girlfriend that's, you know, a little bit. She's like, he was like, he won't thank me for saying it, but you know, that girlfriend that you're just punching above your weight a little bit. She's going to leave you in the end, and he did. You know, obviously he's got great support from Donald McCain and people like that, and I like consistency with my jockeys on a day-to-day and a race-to-race basis. And unfortunately, this is where it sort of buckled with me and Brian a little bit. I mean, there was no fallout or anything like that. Of course there wasn't. I mean, I wasn't in a place to do that. But Charlotte was coming along and mopping up the ones that Brian wasn't able to ride. But then she started winning on them, and it just sort of evolved from there, really. But you know, my dad, you know, I rode a Cheltenham Festival winner for my dad, and you know, Darren went away, but he always rode from his dad. And I always think that if your jockey's in the yard, it gives you an advantage. This is why Nico de Bonville rides out for Nicky Henderson, you know. And okay, we're on a smaller scale, and you know, I've had to make my own jockeys. And in fairness, I mean, Leah there's a really good rider, and you know, and Natasha's she's race ridden. Ella wants to race ride one day, so you've just got a conveyor belt of young riders coming through. I don't know why they're all girls. I've no idea. I haven't had a lad apply for a job here in about 8 years, but yeah, 7 or 8 years. So I don't know why, but you know, Charlotte, I think's proved, hasn't she? I think Charlotte's proved. You know, if they get the horses, if they get the horses, they're good enough.
Definitely. If
they get the horses, then riders. You know, there's a lot made of jockeys, and I think on the flat you've got to be very, very accurate. From my limited experience of the flat, you know, there's over jumps. If they've got the bottle and they put them in the right place, 9 times out of 10 the best horse wins. But you know, the other side of that also, it's a tough sport, and you get some horrendous boots and knocks in it, and you have to have that right mentality. Well, Charlotte has, and Leah has, and yeah, and I like that team thing. I love that team ethos where we're all sort of, you know, it's like the Alamo, we're all us against the world. I like that, you know, and so yeah, we've been a frustrating time, but fingers crossed we're going to come through it.
Perfect. Lovely.
I'm sure there's horses I've missed. I know there's horses
Might
on this.
be.
There is, yeah.
I got through every one on your website if you wanted me to literally go through every one. If that's up to date anyway.
Yeah, it will be, yeah. Well, probably not actually, no.
I'll let these come out and you can always touch on them in a minute.
Was he on his head, Leah, yeah? On his head? Yeah. I'm trying to think what else there is there. Yeah. Horses like Our Sam are well handicapped now, and
yeah, sorry we didn't touch them.
Our Sam's well handicapped.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to running Dusky Days out of Jamie Snowden's as well.
Yeah.
He's a bit of fun. Judicial Review. What else is there? Bitter Lemon, the horse I was talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Cossack Catch. He goes to Cartmel. I like this little Mr. Rumbalicious. I like these little things. Yeah. I always liked him. He won 3 2 years ago. He couldn't have got out of his own way last summer. He was just wrong. As I said, we put him out in the field and put him down the field an extended amount of time. So, yeah, you need him fit first time out because he doesn't drop anymore. He'll never get in a race. But hopefully we've got a reasonably strong team to go to Cartmel. Yeah, hopefully.
River's a whisky idea. Running a bumper, is he?
Yeah,
maybe a maiden hurdle at Cartmel.
We were going to run him, but we just felt that he's a young horse. He ran very green at Newcastle. He was actually coming to challenge for the race, going into the sort of wings of the first in the straight, second in the straight, and he just hung across the track, and I think it was a very good race. But again, we were looking for a race for him in the spring where there's a bit of better ground, and you think, well, it's dry, it's watering everywhere. We were hoping for naturally rain softened ground. It didn't happen. I didn't want to risk him, so I put him out in the field. Yeah. So he's out in the field out there with Zumbi, who's just gone out, and so all they come back into training. Zumbi is a really well handicapped horse, and 1 Mil Harbour as well, another lovely horse. Yeah.
I had Zumbi goes to Cartmel quite a bit, but he won't go.
Yeah, he's not going to go this year. He's off 103. I think it's his best off 120. Wouldn't be surprised if we got back to that. Great Pepper, a horse you asked about earlier. He goes to Cartmel a week on Monday, and that'll be his run. You know, so he's a grand horse, but you'd have the one run and then he'd go out. Yeah.
And Vrumos Eel, if that's how I say the second part.
Vrumos Eel, she goes for the mares race. I've forgotten about that one. Yeah, sorry, I shouldn't have done. Yeah, she goes for the mares race at Cartmel. I think it's a 0 to 120. Or is it a 3 miler? Is it 3 miler?
Right. I've got she's rated 102. He's rated 102 anyway.
I think it's at 120. Is it 2.6 or 3 miles? I think at Cartmel. Right. And she'll go there for the mares race. Yeah. So looking forward to her. Actually.
Yeah, she won at Carlisle in February.
So we've preserved the mark, and we're just going to see. I think she's probably better than the mark. Well, she is better than the mark. But
I put soft ground seems to be key. So
and again, no, I would say that she'll be all right and good to soft ground. It was only over 2.5 that day it was only over 2.5. But if Carlisle, so the old course, the old course, if it says soft at Carlisle and the old hurdle course, the flat course, that's proper soft. But you'll often go to Carlisle on that new course, and it'll be way quicker than what is. It
drained into the middle, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's a new track, a lot faster, faster track. So 2.5 round Carlisle will be really. I mean, you may have seen that day when she did win there at Carlisle over 2.5. She was flat out all the way, and it was only her stamina that kicked in over the last couple, and she's actually stayed on and stayed on well. So she's. She should be ahead of the handicapper. Little turnout paddock, says Union Avenue at the back here now.
Oh, here he is.
Is he out there, is he? Well, have they brought him in? There he is, yeah. So he'll be coming back into training. I mean, we'd normally have him out in the bigger field, but just because the problem he's had and because he injured himself and more, he'll spend he's in and out of there and then in and out of the next one and in and out of the bigger one. Yeah. But he's not looking at he's obviously not looking at his best or anything.
He's having his summer break, isn't he?
And like you said, he didn't run. He hasn't run for a year, but I just didn't want to. We didn't want to take any chances with him. He is a very good horse. Yeah. He's a very good horse, and a bumper's just not him. I mean, I didn't even Tom Malone said, "Oh, I don't know whether I'd run him in a bumper. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, he won 2 and won at Aintree, and then
say, yeah. And
ran well at the Cheltenham bumper.
Yeah.
Ran well at Cheltenham. He was only behind Dan Skelton's horse just by a neck.
Yeah, I was
half
going to
length.
say it was like 9.5 lengths. You got beat off.
Yeah, he's a good horse.
Yeah,
he's a proper good horse, straightforward. And
he'll be definitely one to follow next season.
You've got a couple of nice horses out in the field here, because they're like that Rivers of Whiskey. I like him a lot. And we just, because we had that problem through the year and things weren't quite right and we were bumbling along, and then when we decided to pull up stumps, the horse came up really right in April. He's been great form through April. Love to have run him, but yeah, he's just gone further past than what we wanted him to, you know. These lads would be, you know what you're saying. I mean, I'd like to turn them out like this as well. We'd have eight or 9 in there in the summer.
Yeah.
And just turn them all out and let them be horses.
You keep them here. They don't go. Some might go back.
So well, Bingo and Luna Discovery, the same owners. They've gone back to their owners, and they always do. They have Titan Discovery as well with, and another couple. But those lads, yeah, I mean, most of them stay here, and if you know, that's if the owners try and provide everything, don't you? So chuck them out in the field and.
Wouldn't mind having my summer holiday just sat in a field in Cartmel.
Yeah, that's if it's not raining.
Yeah.
I didn't know whether you want to come in or not. I don't know. You come in. He's a bit like Judicial Review. He's got a lovely handicap mark now, and he wants to go for chasing. So jet light's all right. He'll be going over fences in the autumn on softer ground. That's the horse on the right. The horse in the middle is Rivers of Whiskey. He's actually out of a mare that's related to Chief Dan George. So
okay, yeah. Mean a bit more to you then?
He does, yeah. I mean, Chief Dan George is still down the road.
Wow.
Yeah, we've still got him. He's 25. He's been in old field for years. And that's Zumbi. So he's a lovely lad. They're all lovely lads. Well, a little bit footsore. They've only been turned out for a few days, but
it's hard though, the ground.
Yeah, well,
it's going to be unbelievable on the racecourse.
You know something? I would rather, when I'm turning them out,
yeah.
take the shoes off. Ground's firm.
Yeah.
You don't want them galloping around.
No, exactly. Yeah.
So if they're a little bit footsore, it just helps them manage themselves. Yeah. You know,
yeah,
because you don't want them going up and down and flying around.
Yeah, yeah.
Zumbi's obviously had a niggle or two, and
which one's got the camera, isn't it?
Yeah. He's not a bad horse, this. He's not a bad horse. He's rated 103 now, and we had him 120. He got one little problem, then he got another little problem. So we won't be going to Cartmel with him again.
No.
But that's well handicapped. He's a nice horse. He'll be winning novice hurdles next season.
Yeah.
And that Rivers of Whiskey, and this horse is well handicapped. I mean, you can see he's a chaser.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, I thought I'd be